I'm Charles Arthur, I'm the technology editor at The Guardian. I've been here for almost 9 years now. I've been in journalism for about 25 years or so, in which time I've seen it go from people using typewriters and carbon paper through to computers, the internet and social media. From 2010 onwards, every big app that's introduced is introduced first on mobile. So you have Instagram, comes early in 2010, and now you have things like Snapchat, WhatsApp, all those sorts of apps. Those all originate on mobile, and their key uses on mobile. To some extent, they don't even have a desktop presence. Over those 5 years, we've also seen a shift in terms of reading, going from just being on the desktop to being increasingly on mobile, so that, and sometimes I think at weekends, you start to see a point where there's more readership on mobile, smartphones and tablets, than there is on the desktop. Social is so big on mobile that if you can get a story seeded on social networks, if it starts to pick up, then that starts to give it life of its own. So far this year, there's been Google and the right to be forgotten, which is I think is a gigantic issue. Smartphones are always interesting, the growth of smartphone use in developing countries. Privacy is still a hot topic. I think that the Guardian's coverage tries to be looking at the effect technology has on society. So it's not just saying, oh look, here's a gadget, it's really great. Actually it's saying, here's a gadget, I wonder what effect that will have on society if it becomes more widely used. And the definition of news is stuff I care about, stuff I want to pass on. And actually most press releases are things that a company wants to announce, and those two do not meet, they are not congruent. So for the journalist, the press release becomes raw material which often they have to work on in order to do something with. To get better coverage, what actually do you mean by better coverage? If you want coverage in the newspapers, have your chief executive caught sniffing cocaine off a naked prostitute in Trafalgar Square. That'll get you coverage. Might not be the coverage you want, but hey, people will remember you. It's not really going to be the sort of thing where the journalist and the PR person have the same aim at all. Be on the sidelines of a story with something interesting to say. That's often what I suggest. I do see a lot of things from companies, but to be honest, a lot of companies respond too slowly. Story breaks. Often a story will break in the morning. I've written it up by lunchtime, and then the next morning I get emails from PR people saying, hey, we just wanted to comment on this story that happened yesterday. Well, that's great, but you're actually 24 hours too late. A bad form of PR I often see is one where people just buy a mailing list and blanket everyone with it. And I get probably a dozen emails a day from people who have just done that. So I spend less and less of my time reading email. When it comes to Twitter, I spend quite a lot of time there because I get lots of information from people. I get the sort of mood of what's going on, and it's a useful way to find news. I think that the use of social media, the use of blog posts by companies to put news out there, I think it's great. It's not in my inbox. I can go and find it. I can set up RSS readers to read it. What I need out of a company website is generally a clear link to the press office, press releases they may have had, media contacts, and clear information about what they do, who the team is, who the executive board are, just ways to contact them and find out what they do. That's really all I need. The problem that I think a lot of PR people have is that the huge expansion in terms of media means that many of them don't have the time or the inclination or find it an effective return actually to build up personal relationships. But PR is about making personal connections to people, because if you know the journalist, then actually you can get a much better insight into what they're doing. If you understand the publication the journalist is working on, you'll have a far better result. Most people, though, don't take the trouble to do that. They don't think it's necessary, but actually it's more necessary than it's ever been.